What's up, YouTube? Flash Speaks back, another video. All right, so this was after I posted the video about Jason Whitlock. All right, and me offering how I feel like he should be treated by the black community based on his actions, based on his statements. Okay. So I had someone come into the comment section named Oscar, and he posed a number of questions, right, that I'm going to deal with right now. All right, so he says, you're actually telling black men how to treat someone. All right, so they shouldn't make up their own minds. They have to take the quote-unquote, he puts, quote, black position, and Whitlock isn't allowed to have his opinion as an individual. Does there have to be one black position and everyone has to conform to it or be scorned? All right, first of all, sir, I don't know how familiar you are with Jason Whitlock and what Jason Whitlock is doing, but I think what you do is conflating two different things here. It's possible, okay, within the black community, and it's natural, and it is expected for there to be difference of opinion amongst black people. Just like with any group of people, whether it's Jews, there's going to be difference of opinion amongst them. Whether it's white people, and amongst white people, even that is a very broad thing to say white people. Within the white community, there are a number of different groups. There's Polish whites, there's Italian, and there's a difference of opinion. Some Italians consider themselves white, some don't. In the Italian community, right? The old saying goes, anything north of Rome is, European, quote unquote, white. Anything south of Rome is North Africa, quote unquote, whatever you want to call that. Not white, Middle Eastern, whatever, okay? There's British, there's Dutch, right? So we know it's not as simple as we're putting it, okay? All right. When I'm talking about Jason Whitlock, right, and then some others I'll add to that, it's not complicated, okay? It's one thing to be a black person and have your opinion. This is nothing new. Within our history, you've had the arguments between W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington in the South. You had the debates between W.B. Du Bois and Paul Robeson and Marcus Garvey, for example. Okay, this is nothing new. Right now you have the NAACP versus the Urban League. Right, so you're not bringing up anything that's like so profound here. Okay, the issue with Jason Whitlock is not that he's a black man with his own opinion and who should be allowed to have his own opinion. No, it's just that Jason Whitlock consistently, for anyone who has common sense and listens to him, he rarely, if ever, says anything positive about black people, number one. The targets of his ire are constantly black people. He also doesn't offer anything to black people. Did you not get what I said about him wanting to, let's just erase, black history. Let's just do these types of things. This isn't a black position. This is a position that exists outside of the black community, looking at the black community, saying, let's just get rid of it. Right? What he is an assimilationist. That's what he is. He's not like a person that's about, let me see if I can put this a little bit more simple to you here. He's not about what's good for the community. All right? You had the disagreements between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, right? Martin Luther King, early on, or during the bulk of his ministry, what he called for was for black people to just simply receive civil rights equal to their counterparts, whites, and so on. What he wanted to was, continue to integrate into the larger American society with just civil rights, right? This is just a rough idea, especially early on. Okay, he started to question this later, but early on. Malcolm X Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, rahimahullah, what he wanted to do was, he was what you would call he was anti-assimilationist. You could say separatist. The word I'm looking for isn't separatist. I'm looking for, he was about self-determination for black people, and he called for blacks having their own separate state where they manage their own affairs, where they hold themselves accountable first. This is what he called for. All right, so in other words, not like the forced apartheid on the part of the government, but black people choosing themselves to govern themselves. Okay, this is what he called for. Now, this is a situation where you have blacks with two valid opinions. You understand? The difference is between these guys and Jason Whitlock is Jason Whitlock does not care about the black community, whereas you could never say that about Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Now, if you're foolish enough to believe that somewhere deep down Jason Whitlock does care about black people, then I don't know what to say to you, and I'm not interested in having a conversation with you. Okay? It's one thing to, when a tragedy, for example, like what happened to Floyd, the brother who the police officer killed, right? It's one thing to argue over like whether or not Floyd should have not argue with the police officer, or whether or not he's a good person, or whether or not the cop should go to jail. It's one thing to argue about that. It's another thing to just completely not care about the fact that he got killed. And this is the problem people have with, like, say, a Candace Owens, for example. She just was completely insensitive to him being killed, did not care, because it will go against her narrative that the police officers are pretty much always right in the situation. I hope you understand. There are differences of opinion in the black community. Dr. Claude Anderson, for example, and Dr. Umar Johnson disagree. Dr. Boyce Watkins and Dr. Umar Johnson disagree. Reverend Al Sharpton and what Dr. Cornell was, always argue. They disagree. However, all of them, they care for the black community. Jason Whitlock is outside of that. I hope you understand that. Okay. Ah, boy. And Whitlock isn't allowed to have his opinion man, you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want. And we're allowed to treat you how you should be treated. He doesn't care about us, shouldn't care about him. That's what I'm saying. So does there have to be one black position? I thought I already dealt with that. And everyone has to conform to it or be scorned. Okay, I already dealt with that. You going to say, it's one thing to support a person in your community or group. It's another to say that we will never allow criticism no matter what, and we will attack anyone who doesn't blindly follow our race-based group thought. Now let's talk about groupthink, for example, here. This is the problem right now, and this is what I think is very important here. We don't understand, and this is what makes us different from a lot of groups that are, I would say, much more prosperous in the United States. And this is, I would say, the Japanese, I would say the Chinese, and even Africans who still understand the concept of tribe. They understand the concept of we. Us, because we've been in America and we have been brainwashed or subjected to American propaganda. We believe in the concept of I, right? Because that's what the American dream is about. It's about me as an individual and accomplishing what I'm going to accomplish, forging my own way, being this independent thing, which leads to what? Ultimately, what does it lead to? The I versus we. I oftentimes use the analogy of the shepherd who's leading sheep. right? And this is something that is known amongst people who have lived this type of life. I actually lived in the Middle East for a number of years, right? So I kind of saw shepherds and I saw cattle, right? And what the shepherd would do, the shepherd is the person who's with the stick. He might have 30 sheep with him. He might have 80 sheep with him, right? And what he does is he trains the sheep to stay together in a group and follow the shepherd, whichever way he go. He point his stick right, all of them go right. He point his stick left, all of them go left. And don't you know that every prophet that's in the Bible and in the Quran, all of them were shepherds at one time. And the reason is God wants them to understand the nature of people and how to lead. But anyway, that's a side thing. The shepherd and the idea of keeping the sheep safe is to keep them all together in one group. When one goes astray and flees, he opens himself to danger. And, you know, there are predators that are always looking to come in and eat the sheep. And the way it works is the wolf, which is usually the one used in the analogy, he goes after the sheep that goes astray. That's out there by itself. Whereas when there's 80 of them together, he's not going to attack because he knows they're all together and he also knows there's a shepherd there. All right, or he's less likely to attack. Same thing out in the wild, you know, when there's lions or cheetahs going after like fawns or deer or, you know, whatever, those types of animals. They go after the one, they're going to first target the one that walks away from the flock. That's the way it goes. Similarly, when we're talking about human beings and communities, the community that sticks together, that keeps its wealth within itself, that produces its own, that has its own sense of independence amongst itself before it engages others outside of it, are stronger. What I don't like about Jason Whitlock and the Candace Owens is, and the others like that, they think they're so fucking smart. But what they don't understand is that the thing they complain about, you know, us not having this, us not having that, us complaining about this, us complaining about that, not being, you know, prosperous, right, is a direct result of the attitude that they have. The attitude that they have is, well, you know, there is nothing, you know, there is no race. There is no, you know, whatever the hell y'all like to say. I'm assuming you think similar to that, right? That the race is some social construct that isn't real and all of that, right? You know that we're the only people that accept that bullshit? Like, Asians don't think like that. It's a fact that, you know, Asian money, they say Asian money, right? The Asian dollar, or money amongst Asians, it will move 8 times within that community before it goes outside of it. Meaning, if I'm an Asian and I need plumbing work done in my house, you know, I'm going to go find an Asian plumber. If I need clothing, I'm going to go buy it from an Asian store. If I need food, I'm going to go buy it from an Asian restaurant or, you know, market. And so forth and so on. Do you know this is the same with most communities? Similarly, the black community, however, we think, oh no, it's nothing, there's no benefit in just, you know, being about your race and so on. So we go out and we just immediately give our money to other communities, believing that this is some fake thing. This is the reason for all of the problems, the weakness and the lack of structure, because of the mindset. That's the reason. So Jason Whitlock will sit up there and complain about how we are, but he has no fucking answers no idea how to fix it. The way you fix it is what I'm suggesting. You have to have groupthink. What I'm telling you and what I was trying to tell you in the last video was this is something that sociologists have concluded. The Romans were able to build an empire and rule the world because of their groupthink. The ancient Egyptians had groupthink. The problem, if you study the Greeks, bro, if you study the Greeks were a bunch of city-states. You had Athens, you had Sparta, you had Macedonia, you had all these different states. There were city-states. When Greece was like that, Persia used to whoop their ass. This happened hundreds of years because Persia was a united front. It was when Alexander of Macedonia came and he brought Athens together. He united Athens and Sparta and Macedonia and all these different states. That's when they were able to take on the Greeks. After that happened, once they stopped with their dividedness, with their division. If you look at the African empires, the Sokoto Caliphate or the Sokoto Empire, which existed from around 1977 to around the 1850s before the British came into Nigeria. But what was then at the time Nigeria and Niger and part of what's the other Cameroon and all of these different countries, right? They were unified under Sheikh Othman Dan Fodio, who went and united all of these different African tribes. So now Yoruba was united with Fulani, united with Hausa, united with Wolof, right? United with Igbo. And it's created an empire. Same thing with the Songhai Empire. Same thing with the Malinke empires under Mansa Musa. It's always about unity and groupthink. The more you have of that, the stronger you are. The less of it, the weaker you are. You're more concerned about, I'm going to be this individual who can just, have my own opinion and all this bullshit, which really leads to, okay, good, you got your little opinion, but guess what? You ain't got nothing else. And this is because we lost the concept of tribe. We lost it. We don't even understand anymore that it takes a tribe to raise a child properly. Right now, you got children running amok. I know in Philadelphia where I am, like you got this big disconnect between the people my age and the kids that are around 20-something years old and so on. Right? There's no respect or anything like that. And this is because of the concept of tribe and respecting the elders, the concept of a council of elders. All of these things have been broken away. Why? Because everyone wants to be an individual. Everyone thinks they're a fucking genius. No, the human being is meant to be a social creature. And he's meant to be a creature that organizes with other human beings. It's the way it works. I mean, you can go ahead and have your individuality. Go ahead out there and do that and get your ass swallowed by the wolf. Be my guest, sir. All right. Now, what are you going on to say? Now we've seen LeBron, Candace Parker, Jewel Lloyd's mom, and Ice Cube all get attacked by their own people for having the temerity to not be racist and give a white person credit and courtesy. I disagree with you, dude. I disagree with you. First of all, each of these individual people have different situations. Each one is different. And what are you talking about, give a white person credit? What are you talking about? When it comes to LeBron James, I don't know what you're talking about with LeBron James, all right? With Candace Parker, I suppose you're talking about her opinion of Angel Reese's game and the way she's uplifting Caitlin Clark. Yeah, don't take Caitlin Clark and just say people are upset about her giving a white person credit, right? She also credited Sabrina Ionescu and Kelsey Plum and all of them. Caitlin Clark does not represent all white people. Don't do that if that's what you're referring to, because I can't think of what else you're referring to. In her opinion of Angel Reese's game, so what? These are unimportant things, and no one's canceling her for that. We just believe she's a little disingenuous with it. That's all. That's not even a big enough deal. And Ice Cube or whatever. Well, Ice Cube did something that's unpopular amongst a lot of blacks, and that's dealing with Donald Trump. And I actually had no problem with Ice Cube doing that because I don't think there's anything wrong with demanding something from the president. Martin Luther King was doing that with Gerald Ford, right? So that's just a matter of probably individuals being uneducated, okay? I had no problem with Ice Cube doing that. Were there people who had a problem with it? So what? There's a lot of people that have a lot of problem with a lot of things. But I wouldn't think there was this idea that all black people, are aligned against Ice Cube. I don't remember that ever happening. He still gets a lot of respect now. When people defended Ice Cube just recently, when Ari Spears went out there and said that he has no credit. Ice Cube hasn't lost any ground in the black community, so I don't even know what you're talking about. Joe Lloyd's mom, I don't know nothing about that. You can fill me in on that, but I doubt that that's a big deal, right? But sure, there's situations that there are popular narratives that can happen amongst black people, just like with any group. And when you go against it, yeah, that's what happens. But they'll be okay. Get all attacked by their own people for having the temerity to not be racist. And first of all, that's loaded. That's loaded right there. Because you're assuming that the criticism for them is because they're racist. If you believe that a black person who doesn't like Trump is racist, then I have to question your intellect. There are a number of reasons to not like Trump. These same people probably like Biden. Biden is white. Trump is white. Right? So what are we talking about? It's not racism. It's just I don't like Trump. How about I don't like him? That's probably what their position is. Why would that be racist? Man, I just can't deal with this loaded crap. This is crap. And give a white person credit. Oh, but please, get out of here. I guess this explains the O.J. Simpson reaction. He did it, but he's one of us. Nigga, you don't know what he did. You don't know what happened. So don't come in here, he did it. Were you there? You don't know what happened. Talking about he did it. But I guess he's one of us. And now I'm thinking you're a black man. Duh. Okay. I get it now. You're a Whitlock fan. No, go ahead. Keep being an individual, dog. Just go. That's what I say to you. Go your route of being an individual. We'll build a tribe and we'll see what benefits us more. You and your individualism, Come on, man. Gee, I wonder if the race car will be played now. Save it. Man, bruh. You're entitled to have your opinion. Go ahead. Be this individual. Okay? What I'm going to work towards doing is building a tribe. Because I know where the power lies in. Right? A house divided amongst itself cannot stand. And that was what? A quote from Abraham Lincoln. Okay? So maybe because we're black, you won't accept it. Can you accept it from Abraham Lincoln? Probably someone you probably admire a lot, right? And give a white guy credit. All right, I just did that. I'm out, man. Peace out.